necessary also. Please listen to the following instruction before we start. If you have any questions, just drop it in the chat room. Suspend it till the end of this lecture. Okay. Like I said the other time before the network issue, we'll be looking at introduction to concept of environmental health, effect of environmental factors on the health of the community, pollution, and occupational safety and health. My colleague in person of Mr. Opakile will be taking the remaining study sessions as were taught during the online facilitation via LMS. Can we proceed? If you are with me, please indicate in the chat room. Say yes if you are with me, please. If you can hear me clearly. Can you hear? Okay, okay, thank you. Thank you. I did that, agrees. Thank you. All right, we are good to go. Yeah, by way of introduction, what is environmental health? You will believe with me that the key to the health of human beings is depends largely on the health of the environment. Man cannot exist without his environment. What is environmental health? Environmental health is a branch of public health that is concerned with all aspects of natural and built environment that may affect human health. Also, all right, can you see the slides, please? Can you see the slides? Okay. All right, according to WHO, environmental health can be defined as those aspects of human health and diseases that are determined by factors in the environment. Also, it's the process of controlling the environment with a view to prevent diseases and promote health. All right, are you with me, please? All right. Okay, environmental health encompasses the assessment and control of those environmental factors. What are the environmental factors? Air, water, that can potentially affect health. That is water pollution, air pollution, and it is targeted towards preventing diseases and creating health supportive environment. Can you see the slides, please? All right. During the online facilitation, we were able to talk about environmental health services. And what is environmental health services? According to WHO, there are those services which implement environmental health policies through monitoring and control of activities. They are also carried out role by promoting improvement of environmental parameters and by encouraging the use of environmental friendly and healthy technologies and behavior. There are some disciplines that contribute to field of environmental health. What are those disciplines? We have environmental epidemiology. Second one is toxicology. The next one is exposure science. What is environmental epidemiology? It studies the relationship between environmental exposures, that is radiation, or the microbiological agents, and human health. While science, exposure science, it studies human exposures to environmental contaminants like chemicals, pollution. So it identifies and quantifies exposures. Then toxicology, it also studies environmental exposures lead to specific outcomes, generally animals. You know, during these drug trial, they use animal albino rats for trial before it can be tested on human. So it studies how environmental exposure leads to specific health outcomes. generally in animal, in case of albino rats and the like. So as a means to understand possible health outcomes in human. Now that leads us to factors affecting healthy environment. What are the factors affecting healthy environment? First one is exposure to hazardous substances in the air, in the water, soil, and food, like air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution, food insecurity. Second one is natural and technological disasters like volcanic eruption, and landsliding and the like. Then another one is physical hazards, nutritional deficiencies like protein energy malnutrition. Also, the last one is the built environment. The environment myself and you created. No, it's not natural. It's not a natural environment. Those are the factors that can affect healthy environments. Let's proceed to the components of environmental health. I have with me here like 6 components of environmental health. It involves water supply. In a community, there should be provision for safe and wholesome water. Also, number 2 is waste management and disposal of solid and liquid waste. There should be proper disposal of waste products, being it solid or liquid. There should be proper disposal. Also, food hygiene and safety. There should be food security in the environment. The food we eat must be secured. Also, housing. There should be good provision of housing. Another component is outdoor air quality. This involves control of atmospheric pollution. Are you with me, please? Okay, if you are with me, please say yes. Please get this. Components of environmental health. It involves water, waste management and disposal, food hygiene and safety, housing, outdoor. And the last one is elimination of hazardous noise and radiation. Also, natural and technological disaster. So those are the components of environmental health. How do we improve environmental health? How do you improve your environment? 1, preventing or reducing the risk of illness. Injury or diseases in the community is essential to good environment. The environment must be injury-free, must be risk-free. So we should be able to provide good environmental health. An important way to achieve this is by improving the quality of people's surroundings, like cleanliness, sanitation, prevention of pollution. Also, government and community environmental health programs should be put in place, which is aimed to improve public health in a number of key ways. And they are: 1, health education. This is very important. Is at the primary level of prevention. You should educate the people of the community or people in our environment on importance of hygiene, importance of cleanliness, importance of sanitation, also health promotion. The second one is emergency preparedness. That's like what is going on presently in the country. Some emergency measures are being put in place to tackle the cases, the suspected cases of COVID-19. So emergency preparedness, we should prepare for any kind of emergencies. Another one is natural disaster management. Good water supply. There should be good water supply to the community, being it pipe-borne water or well. Then another one is increased urban development. And the last one is health services for rural areas. So you at this session, which is study session 1, you should be able to tell us something about environmental health, define environmental health, the environmental health services, what it implies, also the disciplines that contribute to the effect of environmental health. I said environmental epidemiology, toxicology, and exposure. Also, factors affecting any environment. I'm trying to recap all what I've said so that you'll be able to note it, because your question is going to come out in form of objectives. I hope you've been told fill in the gaps and the likes. So if I tell you to tell me the basic discipline that contributes to environmental health, you should be able to mention it like what? Let me see it on the chart, in the chat room, please. Okay, in the chat room, let me see you typing it there. Okay, toxicology, environmental, what? Environmental epidemiology and the likes. Okay, let's proceed to study section 2. That is effects of environmental factors on the health of the community. By way of introduction, everything which surrounds us may collectively be termed as the environment. That is the air we breathe in, the soil on which we stand, living or non-living around us. That is what is called environment. Also, much of man's health can be traced to his environment. For example, pollution. You know, I keep on mentioning pollution. That is the major environmental issues. So water pollution, soil pollution, industrial waste, poor housing, and the remaining. So now, let's define environment. What is environment? The term environment implies to all external components which can be living or non-living, that is biotic or abiotic factors which surround us. Then I move to components of environment. What are the components of environment? Human environment can be divided into physical environment, biological environment, chemical environment, and social environment. Those are the 4 components of environment. So we'll be taking it one by one. Physical components of the environment, it consists of abiotic part of the environment, that is non-living, that is physical environment, and it comprises of the following: water, air, soil, waste, housing, noise, radiation, noise, the unwanted sound, okay, the temperature and atmospheric condition. The physical components of environment, we are still under physical components of environment. It can also be subdivided into the following segments. 1, lithosphere. Lithosphere is the earth crust, that is the earth crust consisting of the soil. It consists of soil and rocks. The second one is hydrosphere. From the word hydro, it means water. So it comprises of all water sources, being it surface or groundwater. Also, the third one is the third segment of physical environmental health is atmosphere. Atmosphere consists of the following: nitrogen, oxygen, water vapor, and carbon dioxide. Okay. Now, the percentage of nitrogen is 78.1%. Oxygen is 20%. You may be asked that to state the percentage of the following composition of atmosphere. Nitrogen is 78.1%. Oxygen is 20.9%. Water vapor is 0.1 to 5%. While carbon dioxide is 0.3%. The last one is biosphere. Sorry, biosphere it's a capsule encircling the Earth's surface. It encircles the Earth's surface where the living thing exists. So this portion, it extends from 10,000 meters below the sea and 6,000 above the sea level. Let's move to biological components of environment. They are mainly living things. They are biotic. So it includes plants and animals, bacteria, viruses, and insects. Also, rodents is also a living component of environment. The biological components of the environment, they carry out different functions, and they are based on the following roles.
Which one do you want to do?
First one is producers, second one is consumers, and the third one is the decomposer. What I'm saying is this: biological components of the environment, it consists of producers, consumers, and decomposers. They are classified based on their role in the environment. Now, let's look at producers. They are mainly green plants. They have chlorophyll. They are called autotrophs. That means what that means is that they are self-feeders. They don't depend on any other thing for their nutrition requirements. That is producers. That's where plants comes in. Plants, green plants. They have chlorophyll.
Sorry, just give us a few minutes. The color one by you.
No, ẹ má worry, ẹ má worry.
Mo lọ worry.
All right, I'm back. I'm so sorry for the break in transmission due to network problem. So I stopped from biological components of the environment. I've explained the producers, consumers, and decomposer. So I moved to chemical components of environment. This consists of gases. Okay, it consists of gases, solid, and liquids. The example of gases are sulfur dioxide, solid and as such as radioactive substances, liquids such as oil. All right, let's move to social components of environments. This plays an important role in determining the mental health of man and the condition affecting the man as a member of the society. We believe with me that culture is part of social components of environment. So it includes beliefs, attitudes, educational system, religion, and occupation. That leads us to the types of environment. There are two types of environment. The first one is natural environment, while the second one is man-made environment. What is natural environment? It comprises of all living and non-living things. They occur naturally on Earth. Also, it consists of complete landscape, natural, which includes rocks, animal, plants, and other natural phenomena. Also, there are natural features which occur within areas heavily influenced by man. E.g., example is white belt in urban garden. Can we proceed? Are we together, please? All right. The second one is, can you see the slide, please? All right, can you see the slide? Okay, thank you. All right, man-made, the second one is man-made environment. This is heavily influenced by man. It is called man-made from the name. It means it's being influenced by the environment. It includes physical structures like where we work, where we stay, our offices, home, farm, schools, as well as community system. It also involves transportation system. So that is man-made environment. You should be able to differentiate between man-made and natural environment. That leads us to the determinants of health. There are many factors which may affect the health of individuals and community. Factors such as where we live, where we stay, state of our environment, genetic composition, also our income. Your income and your education level can determine your health. Also, the relationship with friends and family is also very paramount. Also, the determinant of health includes the following based on what I've just explained. It involves social and economic environment, physical environment, and individual characteristics and behavior. That leads us to study section 3 of our course material. So we'll be discussing air and water pollution. What is pollution? Pollution is an inescapable consequence of the presence of man and its activity. The term air pollution signifies the presence in the ambient. Ambient means surroundings. Atmosphere of substances, that is gas, particulate air, generated by the activities of man in concentration that interferes with human health. Safety, comfort, injurious to vegetation and animal. Also, other environmental media resulting in chemical entering the food chain. Can you still remember the food chain? I just mentioned the producers, consumers, and decomposers. Those are the food chain. So the chemical entering the food chain or being present in drinking water, thereby constituting additional source of human exposure. What are the pollutants? There are more than 100 substances which pollute air. So we've been able to identify some during the online facilitation. First, we have carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur, hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, also nitrogen oxide. Radioactive compound is also included. All right, let's start with carbon monoxide. It is produced by the incomplete burning of carbon-based fuels, including gasoline, oil, wood. It is also produced from incomplete combustion of natural and synthetic products such as cigarette smoke. So what are the health effects of this carbon monoxide? After this carbon monoxide is being inhaled, can you see the slide, please? All right, okay. After it's being inhaled, CO2 molecules can enter the bloodstream. When this carbon monoxide enters the bloodstream, where they inhibit the delivery of oxygen throughout the body. So when it's being inhaled in low concentrations, it can lead to dizziness, headache, fatigue. When it's in high concentrations, it can be fatal. It can be fatal. Now, carbon dioxide, you will believe with me that I gave some assignments sometimes ago to mention greenhouse gases. So the principal greenhouse gases emitted as a result of human activity is carbon dioxide, and it is not commonly regarded as an air pollutant. Although man generates enormous amounts of it in combustion processes using coal, oil, and gas. So it is a natural consequence of air. You know, air consists of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So it's a natural consequence of air. So if it's inhaled, if inhaled, it can be toxic in high concentrations. So it can lead to increase in breathing rates, unconsciousness, and in a serious case can lead to death. Are you with me? So I've been able to collect some noxious agents. So the sources and the adverse effects. So like oxide of nitrogen, the source is automobile exhaust, gas stove, heaters, burning stoves. So what are the adverse effects of oxides of nitrogen? That is nitrogen oxide, you understand? All right. So the effects are respiratory tract irritation, bronchial hyperactivities, impaired lung diseases. Also, bronchiolitis can also occur. Then another one is hydrocarbon. It's from automobile exhaust also. It's also from cigarette smoke. It can cause cancer of the lungs. Another one is ozone. It's also from automobile exhaust. It's also common in high altitude aircraft cabins. The adverse effects include cough, substernal discomfort, bronchoconstrictions, and other respiratory tract irritations. So lead is also part of it. It's also one of the air pollutants, and it can be gotten from power plants, oil refineries, and kerosene. One of the side adverse effects is asthma, and one can even have COPD. COPD, you know what COPD is? Now, what are the health effects of air pollution? You know, we've been able to identify some health effects like respiratory tract irritants, bronchial hyperactivities, impaired lung defenses, bronchiolitis, and the likes. So the health effect of air pollution includes minor lung diseases, lung infections, and the likes. And before an individual reacts to these air pollutants, it depends on the following. It depends on the type of pollutants you expose yourself to, degree of exposure, and it's also involved individual health status. All right. So how do we prevent and control air pollution? The control of air pollution is ultimately an engineering problem. So according to WHO recommended the following procedures for the prevention and control of air pollution. The first one is containment. This first one is containment. It is the prevention of escape of toxic substances like the gases I have mentioned earlier into the ambient air. Contaminants can be achieved, the containment can be achieved by a variety of engineering work such as enclosure, ventilation, and air cleaning. What is the next one is replacement. I've been able to explain the containment, enclosure of the fumes of the exhaust um, fumes. They should be able to enclose it at source, curtail it at source. Then there should be adequate ventilation in that organization to prevent the escape into the atmosphere. Also, air cleaning is also part of it. Now, let's move to replacement, the second way in which we can prevent or control the pollution. So it is placing a technological process using causing air pollution by a new process that does not. So you replace the process by technological process that does not entertain the air pollution. Sorry. So increase of electricity. You use electricity. You use natural gases. Then central heating in place of coal, like stove. You use natural gas in case of stove in our various houses. So this will help in improving in reducing the pollution in the environment. Also, another one is dilution. It is valid so long as it is within the self-cleaning capacity of the environment. So, for example, some air pollutants are readily removed by vegetation. You know what I mean by planting of trees. So that is the establishment of these green belts between industries and residential areas is an important attempt at diluting the pollution. You dilute, you plant trees, carbon dioxide gives out oxygen, the vegetation, the trees gives out oxygen where they breathe in carbon dioxide. As human beings, we breathe out oxygen, we breathe in oxygen while we exhale carbon dioxide. So that's what green belt is all about. Now, so the capacity for dilution is however limited, and trouble occurs when the atmosphere is overburdened with the pollutants. I've explained that. Now, another one is legislation and education, health education. Various countries have their own legislation, have their own legal issues as per the environment. Like Nigeria now, take for example in Oyo State, every Wednesday, every Thursday, some market people will not open until 10 a.m. So they will be enforced to take care of the environment, to ensure that their environment is clean before going out. Even those that will go to work, those that are civil servants, they make sure they observe the same thing. So there is policy as per that. Also, site selection, planning of residential areas and industrial zones. The industrial zones should be located where there won't be interference with the human being. So that is all about site selection. The residential area should be different from industrial areas. Also, process redesigns and equipment modification, the use of tall chimneys, reductions at source, through substitution of raw materials with wet method, like those working in the miners, the miners, whenever they are carrying out their activities, they will be advised to wet to carry out, to wet their environment, to prevent dust, to prevent air pollution. So at source, it will be curtailed. Now, another one is monitoring of industrial gases, fumes, and vapor. So, and the last one is disinfection of air. So in recent years, disinfection of air has received much attention, and the method employed by air disinfection include: one, mechanical ventilation. This one reduces divided air and bacterial density. And another one is ultraviolet radiation. It has been found to be effective in special situations such as operation theaters, infectious disease wards. In this ultraviolet radiation, the ultraviolet lamp are shaded and are located in the upper portion of the room near the outlet of air. So ultraviolet rays, it has proved effective for general use in public assembly and in schoolrooms. They just place it at the entrance of the room. Now, the third one is chemical mist. Like what is going on globally presently, the issue of coronavirus, the chemical mist, that is what we are making use of, the ethylene glycol vapors. So it has been, it is very effective. It's a very effective air bactericide. So, and it works against droplet nuclei and dust. That is what is being done outside in developed countries like US. You can see sometimes they go during the inception of this COVID-19 pandemic. They were spraying the air with this ethylene glycol vapor. So that's what they are using. And another one is dust control. Although dust control, I'm not sure if we are using it in Nigeria. So application of oil to floors of hospital, that hospital ward, it reduces the bacterial content in the air, and they'll just pour the oil on the floor. They continue to clean with other chemicals. Although here disinfection is still in experimental stage, it's still in trial stage. All right. The next one is that leads us to water pollution. All right, in nature, water contains purities from natural and man-made. What do I mean by that? Water, man-made source, like pollution from man, like inappropriate sewage disposals. All right, so now let's start with natural impurities. There are dissolved gases which may be picked up during rainfall, like nitrogen, clay, slate, mud, magnesium, and the likes. Now, but man-made impurities, there are water pollution. Water pollution can result from impurities from human activities like sewage, decomposable organic matter, and pathogenic agents. Also, industrial waste, the toxic metals, salts, and chemicals from the industries. All those ones, they are man-made. They are being created by man. So then the other one is agricultural pollutants, like pesticides we use in our farms, the fertilizers. Also, the next one is physical pollutants, like radioactive substances. So that leads us to water pollution diseases. The diseases that are associated with water pollution, what they are called water-related diseases. Water-related diseases can be classified into 5 epidemiological groups. The first one is waterborne diseases. Second one is water-based diseases. Another one is water arthropod diseases, which is also known as water insect-related diseases. And another one is water shortage diseases, also known as water washed diseases. And the last one is water chemical diseases. So I've been able to mention the 5 epidemiological groups. So if you are with me, can you please mention water-related diseases, 5 epidemiological groups, water related diseases, just send it to the chat room. I will check it, please, to know if you are with me. Are you with me? All right, thank you. So I'll be taking it one by one. Waterborne diseases. Let's start with waterborne diseases. Waterborne diseases. These result from fecal-oral transmission of infective agents present in the water. They are fecal-oral transmission from the word fecal-oral, feces to oral, oral transmission. All right, so, and they can be gotten from the following contaminants. One is viral, which can cause poliomyelitis, infectious hepatitis. Another one is of bacterial origin, which can cause cholera, typhoid, paratyphoid, and bacillary dysentery. Another one is protozoa. All right, the protozoa, it can cause amoebic dysentery and giardiasis. Also, another one is emetics. It causes roundworm, threadworm, and the like. So how do we prevent this? There are some preventive measures here. The first one is you improve the quality of water. You avoid contamination of water by excretors. You know, we said it as a result of fecal-oral transmission of infective agents. So you reduce contamination of water. You avoid use of the water you are not sure of the origin, you will not use it. So when you are giving health education to the people in the community, in your environment, you should be able to emphasize to them that they should not take water that they are not sure of the origin. So they avoid the use of doubtful water. All right. So the next one is water-based diseases. What is water-based diseases? This is due to the presence of aquatic hosts in water. They can also be called waterborne or water-impounding diseases. What do I mean by aquatic hosts? The host in the water. The example of it is schistosomiasis, transmitted by freshwater snails. So if the water is being contaminated with snail, so it can lead to schistosomiasis. Another one is guinea worm. It is being transmitted by cyclops. Another one is fish tapeworm, transmitted by consumption of uncooked and not well cooked fish or crabs. How do you prevent this? You decrease the need for contacts with water, control intermediate host population, you reduce the contamination of surface water by man and animal, you prevent the contamination, the surface water. All right, the last one is proper cooking of crabs. You know, we said not well cooked crabs or fish can also cause water-based diseases. So there should be proper cooking of crabs and crayfish. The third one is water arthropod diseases. What do I mean by water arthropod diseases? They are of water insect-related origin. Water insect-related origin. This is due to transmission of diseases by the infected viruses. The example is female Anopheles mosquito, which transmits malaria parasites. Another one is black fly. Black fly, it transmits Onchocerca provulus. That's what causes onchocerciasis. And the last one is thetis fly, which causes trypanosomiasis. How do you prevent this? You improve surface water management. You destroy breeding sites of mosquitoes, like mosquitoes, black flies. You destroy the breeding site, like by clearing the bushes, clearing the cows around you. Then you decrease the need to visit the breeding sites, like that of black fly. You decrease the visits to that breeding site. Then for a mosquito, you make use of the mosquito nets. Another one is water shortage diseases. It is also known as water washed diseases. This is as a result of inadequate use of water. And what are the diseases that can occur as a result of water shortage diseases? It involves skin and eye diseases. All right. Trachoma, conjunctivitis, and scabies. So those are the diseases that can occur as a result of water shortage diseases. How do you prevent this? You increase water quality by ensuring that there is good water supply to the community. Also, you improve access to reliable water supply. So the last one is water chemical diseases, and this is as a result of chemical constituents in water, like lead, like iodine, like fluorine. So those are the water chemical diseases. An example of these is excess of chlorine, excess of chemicals in water, which could be iodine, which could be fluorine, which causes fluorosis. Another one is iodine, it causes endemic goiter. So how do you prevent it? Very simple. You increase supplementation of iodine, then you defluorinate the water. That's the preventive measures. So let's quickly look at discuss properties of sanitary well. Sanitary well. A sanitary well must be located uphill and at least 50 meters from any source of pollution. A sanitary well should be free from pollutants or contamination, like what? Refuse, latrine. Also, the lining of a sanitary well should be at least 6 meters deep and 60 to 90 centimeters above the ground level, in order to prevent water entering from the other side of the well. So the lining should be deep, 60 to 90 centimeters above the ground level. Also, we talk about parapets. Parapets the parapets go up to a height of at least 70 centimeters above the ground. There should be a parapet wall up to at least 70 centimeters above the ground. Also, the platform of a sanitary well should be concreted with cement around the well, and it should extend to at least 1 centimeter, that is 1 feet, in all directions, with a gentle slope towards the drain along its edges. Do you understand that? Now, the drain of a sanitary well will take off slip water to a pit away from the area of drainage of well. So the drain will take off slip water to a pit away from area of drainage of water. So the covering of a sanitary well, the cover should be preferably a concrete cement slab. So the covering of a sanitary well should be cement slab to prevent what? To prevent water contamination. Also, the hand pump of a sanitary well should be drawn up by a pumping machine. And if you don't have a pumping machine, if you are making use of the hand drawer, it should be strong enough to withstand the continuous use and for public use. All right. Now let's look at the last one, which is consumer responsibility. As the consumer of water, so you should be able to prevent waterborne diseases by ensuring cleanliness. So the individual and family level around the world. So water should be fetched with clean containers at home, and we should ensure that we cover it every time. All right. So you may be asked that list or state the characteristics of a sanitary well. So you should be able to mention the following salient points: the location, the lining, the parapet, the platform, the drainage, the drain, the covering of the well, then the machine pump, consumer responsibilities. So we'll quickly look at water purification. During the online facilitation, I told you to read up water purification on a large scale. So water purification on a large scale involves the following: it involves storage, flocculation, sedimentation, filtration, disinfection, And the last one is distribution. Let's start with storage. So when you store your water from different sources, you store it in a natural reservoir to prevent it from pollution. So during this storage, physical, chemical, and biological changes may occur. Like what I said the other time, there may be clay slits from natural environment. The slits, clay can be inside the water. So while storing your water, you should ensure that you store it in a proper reservoir. Also, water flocculation. Flocculation, it involves the addition of alum to water. This is when you add alum to the stored water. The addition of alum can make solid matter in water to coagulate. So all the solid matter inside the water becomes coagulated. So that is flocculation. You can maybe ask the stage. This is what the water, sorry, concerning water purification, which of these involves addition of alum to water? So 1, flocculation, B, storage, 3, sedimentation. So you should know the answer by now. All right. The third step is sedimentation. Sedimentation. This process allows suspended particulate matter to sink. From your knowledge of chemistry under separation technique, sedimentation, it allows suspended particulate matter to sink. It will settle out of suspension. So that is all about sedimentation. Also, filtration. Can you see the slide, please? All right. The next one is filtration. Filtration involves removal of particulate matter. You know, under sedimentation, we said the particular matter, it has already sink and settled out of suspension. So this filtration, it involves removal of particulate matter and biological process that removes particulate. All right. I've unmuted myself. It's okay. All right. All right. Sorry for the break in transmission. All right. The next one is disinfection. All right. Can you see the slides, please? All right. All right. The next one is disinfection. This is aimed at killing pathogenic organisms in water. And the most common form of disinfection is chlorination. Here, under disinfection, you chlorinate your water, which kills pathogenic bacteria, but it doesn't kill viruses or spores. So chlorine can be applied to disinfect your water on a large scale, such as chlorine gas or chloramines. Now, so when water is disinfected, it is important to leave the residues of chlorine in water to deal with additional contaminants. So you leave the residue, the residual in the water, so it will deal with contamination, the additional contamination in the water. So once the water leaves the point of treatment up to the point of consumption, the normal residual chlorine level should be between 0.2 to 0.5. Please note that 0.5 milligram per liter. Then that leads us to superchlorinate. Superchlorination comprises the addition of large doses of chlorine to water, and this method is being used during endemic of waterborne diseases in case of heavily polluted water. Then you can now dechlorinate the water. What I'm saying here is, let me quickly buttress my point. Superchlorination is followed by dechlorination. It comprises the addition of large doses of water. That is superchlorination. You add more doses of chlorine to water. So you can carry out this when there is endemic of waterborne diseases, in order to tackle the pollutants in the air, in the water. So later you can now dechlorinate. That is dechlorination. You understand? Right. Let's move to the next one, which is the last one, which is distribution. Distribution is the last stage of water purification. Treated water that is fit for consumption can be distributed through individuals' family connections or through water pollution. Through water public points, sorry. All right. So we've been able to talk about water pollution, air pollution, and characteristics of a sanitary well, water purification. I may ask you to tell me steps involved in water purification. You should be able to tell me one. What's the first one? Kindly write it in the chat room, please. The first one is what? Okay. All right. The first one is storage. Second one is filtration. Third one is second one is flocculation. Third one is sedimentation. The fourth one is filtration. The fifth one is disinfection. You disinfect your water. And the last one is distribution. After treating the water, you distribute it for consumption. So the last one, which is occupational safety and health. That is study section 7 of your procedure manual. Sorry, what's it called? Procedure teaching manual, sorry. So what is occupational safety and health? According to WHO, occupational health deals with all aspects of health and safety in the workplace, and has a strong focus on primary prevention of hazard. Occupational health is a multidisciplinary field of health. It's concerned with enabling an individual to undertake their occupation in the way that causes at least harm to their health. So the objectives, you check the objective later. You have the objective in your course manual, course materials. So now, workplace hazards. What is workplace hazard? Work provides many economic and other benefits. A wide array of workplace hazards also present risks to the health and safety of people at work. These include, but are not limited to, chemical, biological agents, physical factors, adverse ergonomic conditions, allergens, a complete network, or safety risks. So, and a broad range of psychosocial risk factors. Workplace hazards. An industrial worker may be exposed to 5 types of hazards, depending on type of occupation you engage in. First one is physical hazards. Second one is chemical hazard. The next one is biological hazard. There are 5 types of hazards, workplace hazard. The next one is mechanical hazards, while the last one is psychosocial hazards. Now let's start with physical hazards. Physical hazard consists of heat, cold, light, noise, vibration, ultraviolet radiation, ionizing radiation. So extreme exposure to cold can cause. Can you see the picture on the screen? The chips, the chill blends, the trench foot, and frostbite. Can you see on the screen? So sorry, I observed you were unable to see some slides I've been sharing. So now I will start again from workplace hazards. So I've been able to define occupational health and safety. So workplace hazards, then the types of workplace hazard we have. An industrial worker may be exposed to 5 types of hazards, and they are. First one is physical hazard, second one is chemical hazard, another one is biological hazard, then mechanical hazard, then psychosocial hazard. I move to the next slides. All right, you can say the physical hazard, it consists of heat. It consists of heat and cold, light, noise, vibration, ultraviolet radiation, ionizing radiation. Can you see the slide, please? Right, thank you. Are we together? All right. So I've mentioned the physical hazards, the content under physical hazards: heat, cold, light, noise, the unwanted signs, vibration from machines, ultraviolet radiation, ionizing radiation. So you can see the slides. All these freezing cold injuries, extreme exposures to cold can lead to chill brain, trench foot, and frostbite. You can see the picture. You can see the toes of the diagram. So let's proceed. So let's look at heat and cold. I've been able to show you the picture. So the common physical hazard in most industries is heat. The direct effect of heat exposure can lead to burns, heat exhaustion, heat stroke, heat cramps, heat rash, and the direct effect, decreased efficiency. The direct effect of this heat, like burns, heat cramps, can cause fatigue, and it can also lead to increase the accident rate in the company or workplace. Now, hazard associated with cold are chills, blains, erythrocytosis, erythrocyanosis, and frostbite as a result of cutaneous vasoconstriction. Also, worker may be exposed to risk of poor illumination. I'm talking about light now. Poor illumination or excessive brightness. And effects of this are eye strain. When when there is poor illumination, the person will be, the individual will be straining his or her eyes. There could be headache, eye pain, lacrimation, and the likes. Also, let's talk about noise and vibration. Noise is a health hazard in many industries. The unwanted noise is an unwanted sound, which is very common in most industries. It could lead to auditory effects, or non-auditory effects. Example of non-auditory effects include temporary or permanent hearing loss, while the second non-auditory effects include nervousness, fatigue, interference with communication by speech, and individual may also have annoyance. Also, exposure to vibration at work may produce injuries to joints of the hands. When you are working, when the individual is working with machines, it can affect the joints, the elbow, and also white fingers can also occur. What do I mean by white finger? It's just fine blood vessels to the fingers, which may be sensitive to spasm. All right. The next one is under physical hazard is ultraviolet radiation and ionizing radiation. Exposure to ultraviolet radiation occurs mainly in arc welding, those welders. It affects their eyes, causing intense keratitis and conjunctivitis. It is called welder flash. Also, ionizing radiation, it is common in medicine and some industries like X-rays and radioactive isotopes. The radiation hazard comprises of genetic changes, malformation. It can lead to leukemia, it can lead to sterility, it can even in extreme case can lead to death. That's why we must limit our exposure to radiation. For those of us working in radiology department, we must limit our exposure and put on the lead garments. It is so important. Also, the chemical hazard. Almost all the industries make use of chemicals. Of course, even the hospitals will make use of chemicals, the industries, all of them, in one way or the other, they engage in use of the chemical at one particular point or in time. Now, the chemical hazard are on the increase with introduction of newer or complex chemicals. So chemical agents act in the following way. It can be local, it can be inhalation, it can be injection. So in case of local, the local effect includes dermatitis, ulcer, cancer, even eczema. Because if chemical is being inhaled, it's like dust, gases, and other compounds, can lead to respiratory distress, can lead to cancer of the lungs. Also, if it's being injected, it can result into a lot of diseases. Injection of chemical like lead, mercury, zinc, arsenic, and others. So, all right. So another one is biological hazards. Biological hazard. Workers may be exposed to microorganisms such as bacteria, viruses, yeast, molds, parasites, and other infective agents. Some of these may produce toxins, that is a pathogenic organism. Causing all these can be varying in degree of severity. Example of this biological hazard includes Salmonella typhi, E. coli, Clostridium causing Clostridium botulinum causing food poisoning, anthrax, leptospirosis like Lassa fever. Those are the biological hazards. So nurses, we are at risk of nurses are at risk of biological hazard. Also, let's quickly look at mechanical hazards. The mechanical hazard in industry center around machinery, the protruding and moving parts of the machine. So about 10% of accidents in industry are said to be due to mechanical hazard, like those working with machines. So accidents can occur. So it is called mechanical hazard. The last one is psychosocial hazard. Can you see the slide? The psychosocial hazard arises from the worker's failure to adapt to an alien psychosocial environment, inability to adapt to a new environment, inability to cope to a new working situation. So it can lead to frustration. One of the psychosocial hazard include lack of job satisfaction, insecurity, poor woman relationship. Also, emotional tension can also occur, and some of the psychosocial factors which may be undermine both physical and mental health of workers. So long working hours is also psychosocial hazard. Occupational hazard for nurses. What are the occupational hazard for nurses? Occupational hazard for nurses include, like I said earlier, infectious diseases like what? Hepatitis, like HIV, like coronavirus. Also, needle prick injuries. Needle prick injuries can also occur while at workplace, which may transmit infectious diseases like hepatitis, HIV, and other infectious diseases. Also, latest allergy from gloves, that should be from gloves. Also, exposure to chemical, to toxic chemical. Also, nurses are also exposed to chemical, to toxic chemical. Also, the work overload. The work overload and emotional and physical stress, also part of it. The workload from like the number of nurses to patients. According to WHO, there are certain number of nurses that should be assigned to certain number of patients. If the number is lesser than is lesser than what it should be, it will lead to work overload, and this is really affecting a lot of people in healthcare setting. Also, emotional and physical stress cannot contribute enough. It cannot be efficient if the workload is too much. So we should try as much as possible to relate every of this to our immediate boss or the organization in order to find solution to this occupational hazard. All right, that leads us to prevention and control of workplace hazards. I'm almost through with two. All right, first one, I will divide it into three. The first one is primary prevention. Second one is secondary prevention, while the third one is tertiary prevention. How do you prevent workplace hazard? First one, health education, especially those of us working as in industries. Should be able to educate the co-workers on risk factors or likely causes of workplace hazards and how to avoid them. It's very pertinent for you to educate them as a nurse working in that organization, and measures which can be adopted in preventing the hazard. First, second one is specific intervention. The management of an organization must put in place measures or strategies of preventing exposures of workers to such exposure. What do I mean by that? Certain strategy, like I mentioned earlier, like emergency preparedness. There should be emergency preparedness. Everything must be put in place, like clinics. The ergonomic designs must be suitable, must be okay for them to work with. Also, I move to secondary level of prevention. First one is early diagnosis. If there is any workplace hazard, it is important for us to report to the appropriate quarters. One, prompt reporting and presentation. Then screening, like I have a friend like that. She had a needle prick injury, and with the person is hepatitis B positive. So when she got pricked, the first thing she did, she met with the PPE committee of that hospital. Okay, they said they couldn't do anything. She should go and get money to buy immunoglobulin. All right, she went ahead to test herself. So she was screened for hepatitis B positive, of which she was negative. Later, she went ahead to procure the immunoglobulin, and she got the immunoglobulin. Now, what am I saying is screening is part of it. After reporting, you should screen yourself to ensure that you are not also positive for the infection. So after screening, they can now institute adequate treatment. Now there should be workplace clinic, which is very important. Every organization must have clinics which they will treat their workers. Also, retainership services with hospitals. What do I mean by retainership service? Like those working in banking, bank industries or bank industries or other industries, they may liaise with other hospitals, tertiary hospitals, which they will be receiving care. Also, health insurance scheme should be put in place for those working with state and federal institutions. Also, the third one is tertiary prevention. This entails management of complications from workplace hazard. This one entails rehabilitation in case of amputation, in case of any accident. So they rehabilitate. In case of amputation, you know, we try to rehabilitate, you provide prosthesis for that individual, use of prosthesis and artificial limbs in case of amputation. Also, hearing aid in case of deafness. For people working in mining industries, they might have hearing loss due to unwanted sound. They should be able to provide hearing aid for that individual. It's also under tertiary prevention level of care. All right. So thank you for listening. I would like to entertain some questions. All right. Sorry, I would like to hand over to my colleague, Mr. Opakunle. Mr. Opakunle, please unmute yourself. Are you there? Mr. Opakunle. So you'll be taking study section 4, 5, and 6. So while we still wait for him, can you please ask your questions?
Hello, Opakunle. Hello, Opakunle. Okay, let us go to question and answer for now before we start the second part of the lecture. So, Princess, can you please ask your question? Princess, your question. Modupe, your question.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The lecture was very, very understanding. But
We can't hear you clearly.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is that we understood the lecture, but some of the concepts in the lecture were kind of strange to us because we don't have it in our manual. So would appreciate it if the slides were shared to us, or she should just go through the slide again with us.
I think we
Not
can't give you
explaining,
the
just
slide more than what we have done like this. So the content on your LMS and the one on your manual is enough for you. Then you can do more research. You are in the university to do research. So that is that. So the management will decide on when to release the recording part of this lecture for you. So you are not the one that will decide for them. Thank you. That's your question. Victoria, your question.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. My question is on the sanitary well. I don't know, ma, if you can explain more of it, because I actually didn't get it at all.
Okay.
Thank you, ma.
Hello. Okay, are you with me? Okay. I mentioned okay, I discussed with you about characteristics of sanitary wall. So, and I mentioned location of sanitary wall, the lining of sanitary wall, the parapets, what a sanitary wall must contain. That's all what I mentioned. That was what I mentioned. Also, I mentioned location, the location of sanitary well should be at least 50 meters away from pollution. It should be away from pollution. Understand that thing, 50 meters away from pollution, like contaminants, latrine, refuse dumps, and also the lining of a sanitary well. It should be at least 6 meters deep. Just like your well at home, it should be 6 meters deep and 60 to 90 centimeters above the ground level. Do you understand? I can share, please kindly share, let me share the slide with you so that I will be able to master it. So also I mentioned parapet. The parapet of the sanitary wall should be high enough, at least 70 centimeters above the ground. Do you understand? Hello, are you with me? All right. So also the platform of a sanitary well, there should be a cement concrete platform. The platform should be made of cement around the well, and it should be extended to at least 1 centimeter in all directions. Do you understand? Also, I talked about the drainage. The drain will take off slipped water. The drain will take us the slipped water to a bit away from the area of drainage to the well. The next one is covering of a sanitary well. The covering should be in a concrete form. The slab should be a concrete form so as to prevent contamination. Also, the hand pump of a sanitary well should be drawn up by a pumping machine. And if you don't have pumping machine, you should be able to have a bucket in which you fetch wood from the sanitary well, and it should be strong enough to withstand continuous use. Also, I have talked about consumer responsibilities, that should ensure that the water is clean, and you should be able to prevent waterborne diseases by what? Street cleanliness. So are you with me, please? What's that name? All right. So that's all about sanitary well. A sanitary well should involve parapet, location, covering, hand pump, consumer responsibility. All right. So any other questions?
Your question.
Yes. Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes. It's not really a question, but I just want to say that most of the lectures, though she was okay fast, but most of the lectures, the topics were not in the handout. So I'm just appealing if she can give us the slides so that
I think I just explained this now. This particular face-to-face facilitation is just a summary of everything. And in order to help you in your areas of study, in your research, they help you to get additional materials so that you will add this one to the one you have in materials. What's the essence of taking you? The only thing if I'm taking you the one you have in your materials, then I don't need to bother myself in taking you again. So they have worked day and night to get more materials for you in order to add to the knowledge you gain from that materials. So add this one to the one you have in materials. Unless if the one in the materials and this one are not working together, maybe there is a little of confusion there. That is when you can now say, okay, in material you said the right hand is this, while in this one you are saying left hand is this. So that is how it is.
In addition, your online facilitation during the
Thank you.
LMS, you were taught all these things. And what I have here, they are just summary of what you've been taught online. The only thing I can say is not in your manual is sanitary well, and you should go and master it very well. That means you will not be attending online lectures.
Chioma, Justina, your question. Chioma, your question. Okay, I think you don't have question. Oh, yeah, Olajide.
Yes, sir.
Your question.
Please, ma, thank you so much for that fine lectures. Kindly go through water purification for us, please. I couldn't get it well. I know you did a good job, but I was not really clear on it. Thank you very much.
All right. I said, you know, I told you during online facilitation to read up water purification. Or were you in class then? No. All right.
Yes, ma.
You were in class. Did you read it?
I did, ma, but I'm not clear. The way you were going here.
All right. Let's quickly go through it. I said water purification on a large scale. It involves 6 stages. 1, storage. That's when you store your water. The water you collected maybe from where or from any source, you store it. The next one is flocculation. That's when you add alum to water, to your water, hello, on a large scale. Are we together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Flocculation is the addition of addition of alum to water. So at this point, it will make the solid matter in water to coagulate. All the solid matter will become coagulated. Also, the next one is sedimentation. It involves it allows the suspended particulate matter to sink out of the suspension. All the particulate matter will sink out of the suspension. From your knowledge of chemistry, separation techniques, you'll be able to understand this. Sedimentation. Also, the next one is filtration. What is filtration? You filter something, trying to filter the particulate matter from the water. It involves removal of particulate matter and biological process that involves pathogenic organisms. Here, I said the filtration, it has 2 types. First one is slow sand filter, while the second one is rapid sand filter. And I've explained that. I explained slow sand filter. I also explained rapid sand filter. The slow one, it involves passing of water through a combination of small stones and sand. All right. So another one is disinfection, and it's just all about adding chlorine to water. Adding chlorine to water, you are just trying to disinfect the water. You understand? And in endemic, during endemic, you can chlorinate your water. You can add more chlorine to water. And later, you can now dechlorinate. The last one is distribution. That is when your water is fit for supply and for human consumption. All right.
Agbadola, your question.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Welcome. Good afternoon.
Please, I need more clarification on chemical components of the environment.
Okay.
Then also, yes, air pollution.
All right.
Just a brief clarification.
On what? On chemical components
of the environment, then air pollution.
Okay. I'm coming. Let me go through the slide. Okay. the chemical components of environment. I said it consists of one, gases and solids, then liquid. Three parts: gas, solid, liquids. Example of gas is sulfur dioxide. The next one, that of solid, is radioactive substances, and that of liquid is oil. Please don't mix it up with that of environmental health. Environmental health component is different from component of environment. We have environment on its own, while we have environmental health on its own. So the second question, please, I can't remember.
Air pollution.
And what happened to air pollution?
I just need a brief clarification on it, ma.
Which part of air pollution, please?
I didn't pick any. My
You didn't pick
network was
any.
bad that time. Yes, ma'am. Sorry,
All
ma'am.
right, okay. All right. I said we have more than 100 substances which pollute air, and we've been able to identify carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, nitrogen oxide, and the like. So we're able to talk about their effects, the adverse effect, the health effect. It has cardiovascular health effect, also respiratory effects. So I've been able to mention like the asthma, COPD, respiratory tract irritation. So I mentioned all those nitrous agents, sorry, the pollutants and their sources like automobile exhaust, like gases, stove, cigarette smoke. All those ones that they cause health effects like respiratory effects.
Okay, ma'am.
Hello, do you understand?
Yes, ma.
All right, and I said I defined pollution as an inescapable consequence of the presence of man and his activities in the environment.
Okay.
You understand? So air pollution signifies the presence in ambience. What do I mean by ambient? Ambience is surroundings, the atmosphere of substances like gases, particulate matter generated by the activities of man, in concentration that interferes with human health. So that's pollution.
Yes, ma.
Let's see your question.
Good afternoon. Please, ma, I wanted to just list the greenhouse gases, then the assignment you gave. Then secondly, concerning the occupational safety and health, you talked about the workplace hazards.
Sorry. The one you are asking about is the assignment, and you are not being graded for that. So some people are still doing the assignment. So you can't get an answer to that one. You can
Because
ask
I know
another
she
question.
mentioned something about the greenhouse
No.
gases during this lecture.
It's an assignment. Ask the other question. Ask the other question.
So let her answer. Then secondly, please, sir, she talked about occupational safety and health. So where she talks about the workplace hazard and how to prevent and control workplace hazard. So please, I want her to just do a brief recap because I actually don't get that aspect. Thank you very much.
So let me just tell you this. I will try to put everybody's hands down because this is first part of this particular lecture. The second part will start anytime soon, and there will also be question and answer time for that one too. And on this particular this first part, we have spent almost 3 hours. So if you are asking questions relating to what somebody have answered before, have asked and answered before, kindly put your hands down. And if you have any other question, you can type it under the chat. So the others will be attended to you. So we may not take more than 2 more questions apart from this one. So thank you.
Hello, Mercy, right?
Yes.
Okay, you were asking about greenhouse gases, right?
Yes, sir. Then I asked her to explain, to just recap the occupational safety and health, especially the workplace hazard and how to prevent and control the hazards.
Okay, let me quickly talk about the greenhouse gases.
Thank you, sir.
Greenhouse gases are any gas or that has the property of absorbing infrared radiation, and
Okay.
they can emit. They are emitted from the air surface and radiating it back to the earth surface. For example, one of those things that you do in your household of taking your sewage, your refuse outside, you go and burn it, generate a carbon monoxide. Those things, they are not staying just anywhere than just going to the atmosphere. And what they do when they get to that point is that they make the earth to be more warming. And are you with me?
Yes, sir, I'm with you, sir.
So the moment that happens, what they do thereafter is to cause what we call a greenhouse effect. And that greenhouse effect of it is that earth warming that I've talked about. And what you see happening is climatic changes. And the effect of it is what we are having presently. That when rain is supposed to be raining, even when we are heading towards June, rain is not coming forth again because there is a depletion of the ozone layer. So the earth surface is already depleted. There's a disruption going on because of human activities. Let's say you were on ground in OGBOMOSO, I used to cite example of OGBOMOSO weather for people that comes around. Between OGBOMOSO and Oyo, you will see every truck passing through that place.
Yes,
most of the time, those things they emit serious carbon monoxide to the air. And when you pass through those arenas, or for example, people that are in Lagos State, even when rain are falling, they still experience hot weather most of the time. What happens most of the time is all these trucks that are passing through those places, they release their gases. Nobody is controlling it. Unlike in developed countries that somebody ought to have been controlling it. When those things stay longer than necessary in the air, they deplete the ozone layer, and the effect thereafter is the destruction of the ozone properties.
Ozone layer, okay.
So those are the things that happen when you talk about the greenhouse gases. Those greenhouse gases would be carbon dioxide, methane, and the water vapor. I repeat, carbon dioxide, methane, and water vapor. Those are the major greenhouse gases in Tesla. Hello, Mercy.
I can hear you, sir.
Okay. Are you satisfied now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your facilitator is just contributing and saying that the first place where it occurs is the greenhouse, and that is why it's named after greenhouse gases.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right. Second question you're asking about the workplace hazard.
Yes, sir. The workplace hazard and how to control it.
Okay. I'm going to limit it to the workplace hazard that we experience as nurses in the hospital. Example of it is violence against nurses, the one that is very rampant now.
Yes.
You will have heard that nurses are being slapped by patients, or relatives of patients are being slapped because most of the time they're not satisfied by the care given to them by the patient, and nobody cares about how those set of nurses are being protected.
Nurses, yes.
So one of the things that you should do as nurses to protect yourself against that kind of hazard in the workplace is one, the moment your patient is coming in, understand your patient with his or her conditions.
Okay.
Are you with me? You must not allow your own anxiety or level of apprehension to combine with that of patients. That's number one thing. And you must be able to identify some clue to the fact that some patients are actually developing some aggressive aggressive signs.
Okay.
So when you understand that, before they even raise their hand and slap you, you already know a patient or relative that is not satisfied with whatever you are doing. So the moment you appeal to that patient, and that must be done at a distance.
Okay.
Are you with me? So, and
yes,
when
sir.
you discover that even with your patient is not getting, or the relative is not getting on with what you are giving for her, can you excuse yourself logically, explain to that patient that, let me quickly call somebody to actually give you, maybe you can get best from, with that you will have escaped and call the security from wherever they are, and you will have saved yourself from so many things. There's no point for you to be arguing with that patient. When you start arguing with him, you and that patient, you are not well at that point.
Yeah, that's true, sir.
So many
That's
other
true.
examples that you can get from how you can prepare yourself for workplace. As time will not permit us to do that. Thank you very much.
All right.
Prophet, your question. Prophet, your question. Okay, you don't have any question? Please, your question. No name. Can you ask your question now? Okay.
Hello, sir. This is
No
from.
name, ask your question.
Hello, sir. This is
No name, ask your question.
to. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
We can hear you ask your question.
Please, sir. I don't know how you can help us. I know you. The lecture is so nice.
Even your network is not even good.
We are benefiting. That I thought I was actually following, but with the slide, it helps us to understand points we lost when the lecturer was teaching. There was a point where we could not get the other slide. Please, sir, we are begging, at least on behalf of everyone, help us with the slide. The lecture.
Muraina Idowu. Your question, Muraina Idowu.
Good afternoon, sir. Please, I need the slides on the prevention and
You need
control
what?
of ear. I need a slide
You need
on
the question. You
control
want to ask a question, or you need a slide. If it's a slide, you can't get a slide.
My question is that
Okay.
I have interest in how the slide on the prevention and control of air pollution is, and I'm lost along the line by copying it. So please, prevention and control of air pollution, please.
Okay.
The slide, so I will be able to screenshot. Thank you.
Question on prevention and control. Excellent. You can stop this.
Prevention and control of air pollution.
Near the inlet of here. So the has proved so effective.
Muyibat Idowu, this one will be the last question for this part. Can you please ask your question? Okay. Muyibat, if you don't have any question, then let us try and Mr. Opakunle.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. You can start your class now.
All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. No. Mr. James, let me project the slide, please.
Make use of your slide now. Share your slide to the students.
I'm making use of phone now, so I won't be able to project the slide from here. My system does break them.
You can go ahead without the slide. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. As my colleague has already said, this is NSC 302, which is environmental health. I'll be taking you on from study session 4 to 6. In study session 4, we had man and his physical environment. If you attended my class very well, you remember what I told you about man and his environment. That man cannot be separate from his environment because his consciousness is linked with his surrounding, physical and social. That is, environment consists of the sum total of this stimulation which he receives from his conception until death. And again, let's just define environment. Environment is the sum total of the elements, factors, and conditions in the surrounding which may have an impact on the development, action, or survival of an organism or group of organisms. Now, let's talk about the components of physical environment. My colleague had already explained it earlier, but I'll quickly just remind you again. We have 4 major components of physical environment, which are water, natural vegetation, landforms, and rock. So, what are the segments of environment? Please note this this point very, very well, because who knows, it can come out in your exam. The environment consists of four major segments, which are atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere. Now, let's talk about the atmosphere, which I'm very sure my colleague had already explained down to you. The atmosphere is what you can see around you, which comprises of the gases and all those. Now, the hydrosphere, which talks about anytime you hear something about hydro, it's talking about water, which talks about the water around you. Then we talk about biosphere, which is basically the biological aspect of the environment. So now let's talk about the environment, the element of environment, which is cultural elements, biological elements, physical elements, and from there we move to the impact of human activities on environment. Those things that we do as human beings, how do they affect our environment? Now we'll talk about the stratospheric ozone depletion. That is, when you emit gases into the atmosphere, you are depleting the ozone layer gradually. Then we'll talk about the climatic change. Like Mr. Oyewumi had already explained when he was talking about greenhouse effect. Like now, this is May, so we're going towards June. By now, we're supposed to have had more than enough rainfalls, but now we still have scanty of it. So these are the things that our activities have already caused our environment. So we'll talk about the acid rain. I'm very much aware of acid rain that is very much around us. Now, those things that we do that affect our environment now, that is our actions. Take for instance, improper resource management, destructive logging of our forests, where you see a lot of people clamoring for, yes, I need the furniture, I need this, I need that. Whereas they will need to go into the bush to log those woods, to cut those woods, and use it to make furniture for us. those woods are there, those plants are there in the bush, making a good environment for us. But because of our own need, we'll go there, we'll destroy them. Now we'll talk about overgrazing, which is common among those who that raise animal. Overgrazing, they go around pushing around their cattle, their cattle and all those things, destroying um, the plants. Now talk about flooding and wind erosion. Talk about strip mining and in some part of the country. Then the land degradation with pesticides. Now, the environmental problems. My colleague had already explained it too, which is, we talk about the environmental problem, which number one of it is pollution. This occurs whenever potentially toxic or harmful substance or substances are released into the environment. This is just a literal definition of pollution. Now I'll talk about the land degradation. Land degradation is the process in which the value of biophysical environment is affected by a combination of human-induced processes acting upon the land. If you remember what I said, what I told you about biosphere, now you're talking about biophysical environments now. That is depletion of our biosphere. Now let's talk about the pollution. Air pollution, that is contamination of the air with unwanted gases, smokes, particles, and other substances. Let's talk about oil pollution. I'm very sure those of you from southwest Nigeria, southeast Nigeria will understand this better. I'm talking about oil spillage, which has caused a lot of havoc to aquatic environment and even agricultural lands that we can use to cultivate and make our daily livings from there. Now we talk about noise pollution. Generally, it's like an unwanted or uncoordinated sound. You go around the city, all you'll be hearing is bangings of horns, noises coming out from shops, all those things. They are noise pollution. So let me still discuss more about land degradation. Okay, so that's I think I've done this now. If you remember vividly, during session 5, study session 5, we discussed environmental sanitation, housing, and water supply. Now, with what we discussed in this session, I made you guys to understand that when I'm talking about environmental sanitation, we must know that a reliable and safe water supply and sanitation services can contribute significantly to income generation, health, and education. These are the facts that are known to us. And environmental sanitation and services provided dignity and they reduce the environmental squalor that directly impacts people around the globe. What is environmental sanitation? Environmental sanitations are activities aimed at improving and maintaining the standard of basic environmental conditions, affecting the well-being of people. These conditions may include the following: clean and safe water supply, clean and safe ambient air, efficient and safe animals, human and industrial waste disposal, protection of food from biological and chemical contaminants, and adequate housing in clean and safe surroundings. Are you with me? Now, in environment, still the continuation of environmental sanitation. Like I said, environmental sanitation is a set of actions geared towards improving the quality of the environment and reducing the amount of diseases. All those things that you do around you to make your environment clean and to make your household clean, which are disposal of human excreta, sewage, household waste, and other wastes likely to contain infectious agents, water drainage, domestic water supply, and housing. Now, to everything that happens, if you want it to be successful, it must be backed with a law. It must be backed with by our constitution. Now, in environmental sanitation and its agencies, they have one thing that is backing them up, which is a law. They call it Environmental Sanitation Agency Law Cap, which can be seen in our constitution from section 1, 4, 5, 7, and 9. So now that we don't have environmental sanitation laws in Nigeria, but the major problem that we have is who are those people that will enforce it, which is the enforcement. The poor sanitations and its consequences on us. Poor sanitation has always been associated with Africa, and it has significant negative effects on the national economy. And about 49% of all reported sickness and injuries in Nigeria is related to poor sanitation. And this includes discouragement of the tourists, the effect of that poor sanitation on us. It includes discouragement of the tourist trade, because anywhere that is dirty, nobody will love to come there. Reduced overseas markets and revenue for fish products. Those people in Southeast will understand better. Reduced production from fisheries and increased purchase costs for chemicals and mechanical cleanup operations. We all know how much Ogoni, I think, I've forgotten. This cleanup that federal government plans to embark on in Niger Delta is costing the country. It's so enormous. Pardon me for that. Now, let's talk about the morbidity figures that we always record anytime as a result of this our bad environmental practice. We talk about under these the 5% of all.
Sorry, your audio is bad. We can't hear you again.
Can anybody hear me?
Your audio is bad.
Wow. What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now if it is continue like that.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Now, like I think I've mentioned things about all the consequences of a bad environmental sanitations. Now, let's move to things that can be done to improve our sanitations. From our class, if you remember from the there are a lot of new approaches to this, but at the same time, everything that government have been doing is to make sure that our environment is clean and healthy. Now, the another approach that government has given to it is based on the principles of empowering people to help themselves make an informed decision in improving their environments through education. I'm very sure it's because you are well educated. That's why you can make environments clean, and you know the effect of poor sanitation around you, that you can come down with a lot of diseases if your environment is not clean. Those that are not well educated still live in dirty environments, and they always go to hospitals for one case or the other. Another one is building on the collective wisdom, strength, and best practice in community around us. Now let's talk about water sanitation. Like my colleague said earlier, that water sanitation is very, very important. We all know that access to water, to quality water supply in this country is not feasible. This has made a lot of Nigerians decided to sink boreholes around them just to make sure that they have enough water supply. So water sanitation is defined, in a just short definition of it, is defined as a process of cleaning and purifying water so as to make it safe for use. So as to make it safe for our use. Now, when we're talking about accessibility of drinking water, please pick this line. It says that if you say water is accessible, that water, its source must be less than 1 kilometer away from you, and it must be reliable, that you can obtain at least 20 liters for a single member of your household. Do the math. If the water that you are using around you is like 2 kilometers away from you, and even your baby or an adult cannot make use of 20 liters per day, it means that water is not accessible to you. Now, the approach that's environmental health has decided to use to make sure that our water quality is very much available to us is the management of water resources is critical to sustained supply of quality water for drinking, domestic use, irrigation, shellfish production, and recreational purpose. This is one of the approaches that environmental health nursing is using. Now, the second one is the harmonized approach to water resources. Water resources management aims to ensure equitable distribution of limited water resources among user groups. In terms of quality, agriculture if you remember that in Nigeria, before the discovery of oil, our major source of income used to be agriculture, but the discovery of oil shifted our attention towards that angle and made us neglect agriculture. But that time, agriculture is the biggest user of water in Nigeria, because Nigeria has already shifted away from that side, but the world still remain focused on agriculture. That's made the major consumer of water, that is around 70% of global use of fresh water, is being consumed by agriculture. Now, let's talk about another one, which is integrated planning of water resources. Integrated planning of water resources system at river basin scales. If you check around, you see River Ogun, Ocean Basin. I think there's another one towards River Niger Basin. All those ones, they are things that they've put in place to make sure that we have a harmony in quality water management. So let's talk about the waste management, which we discuss in study session 6. So waste management is the generation, prevention, characterization, and monitoring of treatment with handling, reuse, and residual disposition of solid waste. That is, waste management is a term that is used to refer to the process of collecting and treating wastes. There are various types of solid waste, which includes municipal. I'm very sure we all know the meaning of municipal, which are residential, institutional, and commercial. We have that of agricultural waste. Then we have special waste, in which we should be aware of that, which includes healthcare waste, household hazardous waste with sewage sludge. So here I try to paint a picture of solid waste, a typical solid waste site that is commonly around us. When you're entering to Lagos today, the oozing of dumping sites will be the one that will welcome you. When you're entering into Onitsha today, immediately you cross over the Niger Bridge, the next thing that's going to welcome you is another oozing of dumping sites. These are the things that are very much around us, which is a result of poor waste management. So, how do we dispose our waste? Number one, if you remember vividly in our class, we discussed incineration. Next on, we discuss recycling. We discuss landfill. We discuss resource recovery, and we discuss avoidance and reduction method. These are the methods that we use to dispose or to reduce waste. Now, let's talk about incineration. Incineration is something that we should be all very familiar with. It's a disposal method in which solid organic wastes are subjected to combustion so as to convert them into residue and gaseous products. Landfill. Landfill involves burying the waste, and this remains a common practice in most countries, including Nigeria. Landfills were often established in abandoned and unused quarries, mining voids, or borrow pits. Those ones I mentioned earlier about Lagos and Onitsha, these are the examples of landfills. So let's talk about recycling. From the word recycle, it means how can we make how will I put it now? How can we make use of our generated waste? Yes, how can we make good use of our generated waste? Take for instance, we have some people now convert expired tires around to automa, in which they can make good furniture out of it. But let me just give a concise definition, or I mean the process of this. It's a resource recovery practice that refers to the collection and reuse of waste materials, such as empty beverage containers. Take for instance now, this one is very, very common among our mamas and the ladies generally. Anytime you go to a lady's house and you see like two containers, or yes, two containers of maybe something else inside. So that's a fact that we've seen around, which is a very good means of reducing the waste. Instead of them to trade away, they would decide to use it for something by keeping some things that they don't want to get lost into it. Now, let's move to resource recovery. It is a systematic diversion of waste, which was intended for disposal, with processing of recyclable to extract or recover materials and resources and convert to energy. While growing up, I was opportune to witness where some groups of engineers came together to make a fermentation, not
Okpakunle, are you through? Okpakunle.
Hello, students. I want to believe that you have been going on well with the lecture. The last facilitator he had some technical issues, so he couldn't continue with the lecture. But I just want to summarize what you have been taught so far, because already you have been taught online, and what we needed to do now is just to give you updates of what you have learned online, which I believe the two facilitators have done it so well since the beginning of this lecture. So let me just quickly summarize. I want to believe that every one of us, we are part of the environment. If you are not part of the environment, that means you are living in an outside world, or you are not part of this planet. And living in an environment, it involves that you must interact with both macro and microorganisms. As a matter of fact, the human behavior in the environment is also part of what you should cope with in the environment if you actually want to be part of the environment. So those has been expressed. So they are taught about the physical environment, the biological environment, chemical environment, so on and so forth. That has been discussed with you. So I just want to re-emphasize that for this course, if you can just do well to read the slide that has been presented to you, listen to the audio, read your material, it's very possible for you that you are going to pass the exam without any problem. So try to concentrate on the lectures that has been given to you. And when you are coming for this exam, you should not be panicked at all. Don't be fearful. The exam will be very simple. Only if you have actually read your manual as it has been given to you. So I want to entertain any question on what you have been taught generally. If you have, I will just take one or two people and we'll round up the lecture. Mr. James, are ready for questions.
this is the cover. Your question. Your question.
Good evening, sirs.
Good evening. We can hear you. LODLC, your question.
Resource coverage.
It's like you can.
That is one.
Network's not clear.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir. I said the second question is on the sanitary well. I want to know on the flocculation, the difference between neutralizing, that is the charge neutralizing flocculation, and the swift flocculation.
Okay. Please, can you repeat the question?
All right, sir. The first question I asked that I want to know, please, I need more light on the recycling and then recovering resources.
Recycling and recovering.
Recycling and then resource recovering. Yes, resource recovering and recycling. What is the difference, sir? And then the other question, I say on this sanitary well, I want to know the difference between, that is the second stage of water purification, the difference between charge neutralizing flocculation and the swift flocculation. That is trying to talk about the adding of the alum in the water for the calculations of the material. So, but I didn't get the difference clear of the two, sir.
Purification and
the second phase of the water purification, which talk about the flocculation. And then on the flocculation, we have the neutralizing flocculation and then the sweep flocculation. So I want to know the difference of the two, sir. And then the second question, I say recycling and then resource recovery.
Hello? Hello, are you there? All right, you asked about the stages of water purification. I said there are 6 stages of water purification. The first one is the second one is flocculation. And flocculation means addition of alum to water. I'm talking about purification on a large scale.
I'm not hearing, ma.
Hello? Are you with me, please? All right. Is the addition of alum?
Yes, ma'am.
So, when you add alum to water, it makes the solid matter in that water to coagulate. When your normal experience of gold, if you add water to, alum to water, it will coagulate. The particulate matter there will coagulate. You understand? Now, the next one is sedimentation. It allows the suspended particulate matter to stick and settle out of suspension.
Ma, sorry, your voice is too far. I'm not hearing you, ma. Your voice is sounding so far.
All right, so far. I'm so far. All right,
Oh.
water works. It's not
All right, hello. Are you with me? Hello? Are you with me? All right, you asked questions on difference between recycling and resource recovery, right? Okay. You asked question about difference between recycling and resource recovery. Recycling practice refers to the collection. Are you hearing me? Okay. Recycling practice refers to the collection and reuse of waste materials, such as empty beverage containers. The material which the items are made can be processed into new products. How do I mean? If you look at your environment, you see people using beverages, canned things, and the like around your environment. Those things, they are not meant to be discarded as we practice in this part of the world. They should be recycled and used for another new product entirely. So, but in this part of the world, what we are used to is just to litter our environment with those things. Those should not be so. So we can recycle those things instead of making them to constitute environmental hazard to us. Whereas in resource recovery, it's somehow synonymous to recycling. The only thing is that this time around we are talking about the biogases. For example, it has been discovered that even the cow dung that we see around, that we see the cows, the Fulanis, they are rearing their cows and they are littering the environment here and there. Those things are not meant to litter the environment. They can be gathered to make electricity. Are you with me? So that's what we call resource recovery. They are very useful resources, but in our own side, part of the world, we just discovered that those things, the best we make use of them is just to use it as natural or to use them as a fertilizer, but they can go beyond that to make use, we can make use of them as electricity. So that's the difference between the two. In recycling, we are talking about solid materials, but in resource recovery, it goes beyond just ordinary solid material, but something that we can actually generate power from. I think I've answered your questions. Okay.
LODLC, your question. LODLC, your question. C2 Mercy, your question.
Okay, good afternoon. My question is out of the context of this class. It's just a general question concerning the upcoming exams. Like, how many, what form is the questions going to take? Then, like, can you give us an estimate of how many hours you are going to do each course every day? So
2
that's
hours.
all I'm asking. You said?
2 hours.
2 hours every day, right?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Between what time and what time, sir? Okay, between what time and what time, sir?
The question, according to your timetable, if you go through your timetable very well, you will discover that each course, they are available for you for 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
So, which means you can do it at any time. Not that it will be 8 to 10, then after, if you don't have time between 8 to 10, you can't do it again. No.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Kelechi Glory.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay,
Please
thank you very much for the lecture.
Thank you.
My question My question is on the first, is for the first lecture about air pollution. She talked about air clearing. I don't understand how to prevent the air pollution. I want her to throw more light on that air pollution, the prevention, especially air filtering. Thank you.
Okay.
Air pollution.
All right. Thanks for the question. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Air pollution, as you have been told,
yes, sir, I'm with you, please.
is the contamination of air by the discharge of harmful substances, right? And all air can be caused, all air pollution can cause health problem. That has been explained to you. Now, for you to be able to prevent air pollution, like you are talking about air flaring, let me take you to the Niger Delta area of the country, where we have oil exploration here and there. If you go to that part of the country, it's only those that are living in that part of it that can explain what is happening to them. What's the aquatic animal, human being around that place, they are not enjoying their life because of some of the exhausts that are coming from those white men companies. That they are just doing for them just to exploit take their oil from that place, and they are not taking care of how they what is happening to the air around that place. To be able to prevent that, one of the things that must be done is there must be an appropriate promulgation of laws by the government in our country, and they should give them a mandate that if you want to cite a company here, one of the things that you must do is, number one, you must take care of what is happening to the exhaust of the gas from your company. There's a way they can divert that and it will harm human being. But because the human people knows that we are unserious people in this part of the world, so they just allow those things to go into the air. If they do that in their own country, they know that somebody is there to, ordinary citizens of the country can charge them to court. So if there is appropriate law, nobody will allow their air exhaust to just go to the air and disturb the healthy status of human being. That's one thing that you can do to prevent air pollution. And to you as a person, those things that you burn around your environment, they are not too good. If you want to burn anything, you must have a separate container for it, where it can, and it should not be around your house where you are living. Of course, the government should be responsible in any way to be coming to pack some of those wastes from one point to another at one time or the other. They should be doing that often. But because we don't have a responsible, although let me say we have governments, but they are not up to their task. That is why those things we just say, okay, if nobody is coming to pack, let me just create one sewage place or sanitary area around my place and let me start burning. That should not be. So to prevent, you yourself, don't burn things in front or wherever that is very close to your living house. That's one way to actually prevent that. And some other ways of prevention. But the most importantly, as we human beings, we must prevent some of those exhaust of gases to contaminate our air. I wouldn't know if I've answered your questions.
Palade, your question.
Good afternoon. Concerning under the recycling, there was, while going through the course material, there was something made mention about single stream recycling and kerbs collection. I want you to throw more light on that.
Your question is not clear.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Under the recycling, while going through our course manual, there was something being made mention about single stream recycling and curbside collection. I want you to throw more light on it because I could not get it while reading it, sir.
Okay, let me cite that part of the material that you are talking about so that I can give appropriate answer to your question.
That's section
Just
6.
give me some minutes to get to that place.
Okay, sir.
I'm coming.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So please, I'm listening to the, okay, with in paragraph 2 or thereabouts. In some communities, the owners of the waste is required to separate the material into various different bins. For example, paper, plastic, metal, prior to its collection. In other communities, all recyclable materials are placed in a single bin for collection, and the sorting is handled later at a central facilities. The latter method is known as single stream recycling. What we mean by this, hello? What we mean by this is, instead of a community collection of some of those materials that we are talking about, like cans and the likes, it can just be what you can do as an individual. As you are using it, you are collecting it, you are not throwing it away for anybody to come and be picking it here and there. So when you do that, what
Yeah, thank you. We have come to the end of this face-to-face facilitation for NSC 302 Environmental Aid. If you have any other question, you can contact any of your e-tutor. So thank you. We'll meet you tomorrow when we start another class. Thank you.